So welcome everyone. Today we'll be talking about how to do a first meeting with the customer when you are selling Persona 360. Before we jump into it, just a quick reminder that we have this DataSentics/partners page where we are storing all of the assets, such as slides, latest guides, how to sell it, and so on, overview of the products, all the key contacts, and so on. So this is the place where you will always find the latest content. Yeah, for those who have missed the last meeting, you even have the recording here. That's the meeting where we went through the overview of all our products. But today we'll be focusing only on Persona 360, and we will go deeper into the sales cycle. And the idea is to empower you in your ability to do a first meeting, open up the conversation with the customer, and do a first meeting on your own. That's the idea. So first of all, we will briefly show you how we are doing it, and the idea is that I will show you how we are doing it when we are going to the first meeting ourselves, just for you to understand and get a feel how it's done, how these meetings looks like. So when we are first approaching the customer on a first meeting, we basically use just 2 slides, and it's all about asking the questions. So first slide, we use our company profile to basically position ourselves as a very specialized unit. So that's the first slide, and then the second slide is about the entire landscape, what we are doing, and why it's bringing some business value. So we are using really those 2 slides, and then it's all about asking questions. So now let me try to simulate this. Yeah. So let me talk like you would be the customer. So hi, we are DataSentics, and we are part of Atos. We are 100% owned by Atos, and we are focused on helping enterprises leverage their data in order to create more business value or more added value for their customers. And to do that, we are using the machine learning and all those modern techniques and technologies like cloud platforms, Databricks, and so on. We have more than 120 data scientists and data engineers working closely in the environment of our customers, really trying to accelerate them in their projects. But we also have the product team that is developing the frameworks and basically the helping customers to operationalize the things that they are developing. What is interesting about us is that we are organized in the vertical tribes, and so we can provide the specific industry consulting, and we can also provide the frameworks on the technological products. We are partners of those big companies, and we have some decent footprint across the retail banking, insurance, and other verticals. And it's good to pause here and ask if the client has any questions regarding that, like from any kind of areas. Yeah, so they often can ask, so you are working only with Databricks? And we can say, yes, we are working primarily with the Databricks. It's what makes everything much easier for us. But if you are using different technology, we can discuss if it can be reused. At the end of the day, it's Spark or Python. So we can ask the customer back what is their technology they are using, if they are using Oracle clouds and so on. But then after this introduction, we go to the, let's say, use cases. So the idea goes like this. We are helping our customers leverage their data, which means we are experts in processing the unstructured data such as emails, chat, customer surveys, customer feedbacks, PDFs, all this kind of weird data that are popping up across the business, and that they are basically not possible to be processed by traditional data tools like Oracle or data warehouse or so on. But on the other hand, we also work with the digital behavior data typically coming from the website analytical tool or some app measurement tools. And we can process all these clicks and interactions on the website, on which pages they are likely to they spend a lot of time, which mobile app they are which smartphone they are using, what is the frequency of their visits, and so on. So all this data, they are containing new additional information about the customer. And the idea is when the customers are trying to plug this into the existing process, such as personalization, fraud detection, pricing, underwriting, and risk, or streamlined back office, it's not a trivial thing to do. So we are helping customers with that, and we have found out that it's very cost efficient to use these new technologies such as Azure, AWS, and cloud to process this data, because it gives us a lot of flexibility and a lot of cost efficiency at the start. And we typically use Databricks that manages the Python and Spark. So again, it helps process the data faster. But still, we went even further, because we have seen that many customers, they are struggling. Because there is still not many people experienced with these technologies, not many people that have developed such complex solutions in enterprises in the past years. So we saw that problem, and actually we need to eat our own dog food, because our people have the our people have the same problem. So we tried to figure out how to make development of our people reusable, scalable, and productionizable. So for that, we have built this Persona 360 modular white box product, and we can give it to our customers. It's fully transparent. It's deployed to their environment, and their internal people can get inspired by it. They can get accelerated by it, and so on. But in the same time, we can provide you with the expert team helping the customers, helping you to go faster and increase the pool of resources. So at that point, when we explain like all this idea that in the new data there are additional informations, such as when the people are calling, that the people are angry, that they are complaining, giving us bad feedback, or they started to read or started to read on our website some specific articles and so on. They change their behavior. All this information, all these triggers, all these additional things can be used in these business processes to improve the business value. And we are really just bringing in the thing that speeds this up. So that's in general the idea. And now, when we explain this introduction, it's all about asking the questions. So now we want to basically understand where the customer is on this journey, because everyone in the world is trying to do that, more or less. That's fine, yeah. So it's like the idea is that this is what everyone is trying to achieve, and we just now need to identify the area where we can help them. So it's important to start asking questions. Have you used the digital behavior data to trigger the campaigns? Have you used unstructured data to streamline the back office, categorize the emails faster, and so on, let's say digital channels? And the idea is that in this data, there is a lot of interesting information about the customer's actual needs, such as that customer is calling you, customer is giving you bad feedback, he's angry, or he is stuck in some place on app, or he just started to read about investment products, and so on. So all this interesting information is hidden there, and the idea to activate it and get some business value out of it is to plug this information into existing processes that most of the enterprises are doing these days. They are doing personalization, digital sales, and so on. But the idea is that they are not leveraging all of this new data. So that's one area of use cases. Another area of use cases is the fraud detection, risk management, pricing, underwriting, all these like core processes, especially in FSI. And again, this additional information about the customer, it can help enrich the current efficiency of the process. such as decrease the false positives, increase the model performance, or increase the number of fraud detected, and so on. And last but not least is something we call streamlined back office, because a lot of the use cases are about saving some time for, let's say, let's say back office people, and it can be about speeding up the claim processing, automatically categorizing the inbound communication, or even things like document reading by computer vision OCR and so on. And yeah, so this is let's say the third area of use cases. But to actually process the data from this non-typical format and plug them into the process, it's not easy. So for that, we use the new technologies such as cloud and Databricks, which is, let's say, managed Python and Spark technologies that are built and made for this purpose, like processing large amount of data, using some AI, training some algorithms, and doing this stuff. But the thing is that we see many customers struggling with developing such solution, because it's a new thing. It's something that there are not too many people in the market running around with a lot of experience in that, and we see a lot of our customers, let's say, struggling with the development, and especially with the way how to make it business as usual, how to adopt it into the business as usual processes. So the idea is that we as a company, we saw this problem even for ourselves. So we developed the product, which is basically a set of pre-built templates, libraries, basically pre-built code that enables faster delivery of the project. But on the other hand, it's done in a way that it can be deployed to the environment of the customer. So it's fully compliant with all the enterprise security compliance perspectives. And we also provide an expert team that can work hand in hand with the customer team during the implementation and during the project. And this is basically the, let's say, introduction. So it's just like setting the scene. Yeah? So now I would like to basically, it's all about asking the questions. Yeah. So the idea is that now we need to uncover where the customer is on the journey, because they already are doing some of it by some other technologies, by some other processes. They tried it in the past, they failed. So we need to really identify the current situation of the customer. So it's really important to just start asking the questions here. And the questions goes like, for example, yeah, there are many of them. We have it even written. So we will then share the material where all the questions are. But the typical questions are about the things. Have you already tried to leverage the digital behavior data, for example, the speed of the speed of browsing and filling the forms on websites for any of these processes? This is one of the questions. Yeah, the customer can say, yeah, we have tried. We have some compliance problems. We don't know if we can use the data. It's this GDPR. It's super confusing. It's one scenario, and we of course can reply, because yeah, that's true. We know, because every customer is having these troubles. So we are even happy to help you in the first phases, providing you some arguments, providing you some explanations, and basically descriptions how others see it, and so on. So if you are trying to leverage digital data, but you have some privacy problems, GDPR problems, we can have some chat. Yeah. So that's, for example, one simulated question. Another answer of the customer can be, yeah, we have some Salesforce tool for that. Yeah. And we go like, yes, that's great. It solves a couple of the use cases, but have you, for example, tried to calculate some automatic probability that someone is really interested in discussing the investment products? Is it somehow like really automated, or it's rule based? And often it's rule based, because Salesforce doesn't allow not anything else. So then they go like, aha, yeah, so maybe that's something something that could be automated. Yeah, so maybe we can talk about it. So that's another angle. Yeah, so the digital data, it's definitely one of the most common entry points. So to really ask if they tried to use the digital behavioral data somewhere in the business, that's, let's say, the good starting point for the discussion. Another questions are around the unstructured data. So it can be, again, all these emails that the customers are sending to you and so on. And the typical use cases can be, let's understand the customer sentiment. Let's understand if he is angry, if he's complaining, if he is writing you the messages a lot, much more than the others. So the question to customer goes like, hey, have you tried to analyze this and somehow trigger the retention campaigns or trigger some business process automatically? Have you tried something in the past? And again, they goes like, yeah, we have tried this and that, but it's hard to obtain the data. Yeah, so yeah, it's very hard to process. And this is where we can kind of follow up, because when they are struggling with the processing the data, that's where it's good to switch the discussion on the technologies. So basically, the cloud platforms and the data bricks, it's a good way to start with these new kinds of data. And especially in the digital data, those data are originated in a third-party cloud. So it's like a very easy, even from IT security perspective, to process them in the cloud because they are already there. So it's often the good starting point. That is the digital data, and then we basically can ask about the technologies. Yeah. So are you using one of the hyperscalers for some data science AI use cases? And they can go, yeah, we are doing this and that, or no, we are considering it and we are having some pilot projects. And then a couple other questions can be around their, let's say, competencies. Yeah. So if they are, for example, having the data science teams, how big the data science team is, if they are doing a lot of in Python, if they are doing a lot of production solutions using Python, if they are where they are struggling, are they struggling with operations, are they struggling with the development itself? So we can ask a lot of the questions, and of course the answer is always the same, yeah, because we can always say, yeah, we have this product and team of experts that can accelerate you on your journey. So it's really about just to finding where they are, what they are trying to solve, and then we can always answer by our products. So then we can switch to the other slides where we, for example, are explaining the cooperation models. So if they start to ask questions like, and do you have related product or services or some combination? We answer, we have all of it. We can work in different modes, and it depends on their needs. Yeah. So if they have very strong team, then we can provide just the product. If they are more or less starting, we can provide both. If they are super advanced, we can provide just specific experts. So that's another interesting discussion in the beginning. And if they are more into if they start asking questions about how the cooperation typically looks like, we always show them this slide where we really go like, yes, it's important to do this phase 0. It's often free of charge. It's really a couple of Mondays. We will spend some time with your internal people, really try to understand your situation, and we will propose the scope for the pilot project. Then the pilot project, it will be a combination of free license for our product. We will give you a free trial. But of course, it requires some talking with your people. So someone from us needs to come to your environment. They need to understand your situation. So we need some money to cover this initial costs. And from our experience in large enterprises, if anyone is telling you he can do it faster than this, he is probably he has never done it because we've done it many times, and it's often like, yeah, it requires amount of many days like that. But this is just the start. Yeah. So if the pilot is successful, then we can discuss the transition to the full production, and the business model is then like monthly fee, and then they can layer on more use cases across more departments. They can reuse the same data to enrich different business processes, and they can implement it themselves. We can just train them, or they can hire our people, or they can fully outsource it to us. Of course, like this is the place where the services, professional services comes in, and we can make a lot of money on the professional services, not just on the fees. So that's, let's say, the around the typical business model. And then of course the discussion can end up in the things like, and do you have some real use cases, or do you have some real case studies? And for that we have another slide here, which is really about the use cases. So we have this menu of use cases. The top four at the row at the top are the most common these days. This is the, let's say, most demanded use cases. We are having most of the client meetings around these four topics. And first use case is the AI-driven personalization. So really use this new data, combine it with the other data in the company, creating this massive customer 360 segmentation, and then leveraging it to really treat every single customer in a personalized way, therefore improving the business performance. Yeah. Another use case is the, let's say, fraud detection, bringing additional data into the existing process, enriching the existing process in a first iteration. Yeah, we don't want to replace it straight away. We can just enrich it, therefore creating the business value with the least disruption. Another one is the document reading. So yeah, we can automatically process any random formatted documents that have the similar information. So we can use the specific AI tailored for this kind of exercise, and it saves a lot of back office time. And the last but not least is the service center about let's say, classifying the inbound communication, the topics, the keywords, and then using it to automatically route it to the right team, or automatically reply, and so on. So this is like the use cases we have, but to show them, it really depends where the discussion will take you. Yeah. So, and of course it depends on who you are talking to. So if you are talking with someone from the CRM, the head of CRM, head of digital, then the use cases will probably be the big topic. On the other hand, if you are talking with data people, then the topic can be all this, let's say, technical things, all this, let's say, frameworks, and how to build a scalable solution on top of these new technologies. And then it's a good opener for the follow-up meeting, where you can invite us, and we are happy to show the product in a real detail, technical detail. We are happy to discuss technical details, and this is kind of where we can come in to support you. So that's in general some kind of how it goes, how the sales process looks like. And we have written it all down here into this, let's say, document. You can find all the links there to the slide deck I've been showing, to the previous webinar, and then you have the description of what I've been just telling you. So you have the entire life cycle described here, that how to even initiate the potential meeting with the customer, and then how to conduct the first meeting, and then, let's say, for second meeting you can involve us, support you. And then, yeah, if it's still valid, we will scope the pilot and we will do the proposal, and then we will, after the pilot project, we will upsell it. And now I would like to answer a couple of questions if there are. So, anyone, do you have any questions about how to do the first meeting around the persona with the customers, with the potential customers? Yeah, so hit ratio, it depends also on a time span. Yeah, so it's important to mention that. Yeah, sorry. The question goes like, hey David, any idea what is the hit ratio after the first meeting with the customer? And my answer is it depends on the time frame. Yeah, so of course this doesn't happen overnight. So typical sales cycle is 2 to 6 months from the first meeting. Yeah, so if you have first meeting, then in 2 to 6 months you can expect to be closed. And but we have also the customers with much longer sales cycle, where we talked with them for 2 years and then they reach the point where it makes sense to involve us. So it's really hard to say. Yeah, but I think once you start having the conversation, it often turns out to many more follow-ups, and I would say the hit ratio is pretty high. Yeah, because in our company we were able to acquire, let's say, large accounts, and we don't have like many salespeople, right? We have mostly data scientists and data engineers. So even in a couple of people, I don't know, 5, 7 people involved in the pre-sales activities, we were able to acquire this amount of customers. Yeah, so the hit ratio is pretty high, but what is hard is to initiate the meeting. Yeah, so it's not trivial to get someone to the first meeting. So yeah.
Would we have Serge speaking? Hello, David. Would we have already reference customers willing to support the statement and talk about their experience in case if I would find a customer here? I'm working in Switzerland, and depending, it's not maybe looking for the biggest one, but maybe also for a mid-sized customer, something which is not frightening a smaller customer. Would we have that?
Yeah, so we have say, for persona, we have the references. We have, let's say, the large retail bank in CEE region. Then we have the UK insurance company. This is like the public references we have, so we can disclose who they even are. And then we of course have like the references just from the fact that we cooperated. Like yeah, we don't have the exact use case as a reference, but we have all these references here. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But let's say those two are the, let's say, flagship ones, and we even have the contact there, so they can give the, let's say, authentic reference, yeah, that can even connect your potential customer to them without us being involved, if it's helpful for those two. There is just one trick: if you're talking to the insurer who is active in UK, then we have a problem because they are competitors. So we need to be a little bit careful. But I think we can use for example, retail bank in that case. Any other questions? Yeah. Another question is, what is the most favorable context for closing customers on Persona 360? Yeah, so like the typical use case, if I understand the question. So the typical use case is really about the let's say personalization and marketing. So we have this couple of slides to elaborate on this use case. Yeah, that often the companies there, and especially in FSI, the interesting customer data are in those new data sets. They are not in the, let's say, core data warehouses. So the customers need to get this information to the marketing automation tools, and if they somehow manage, they still need to do this manual segmentation, and it basically ends up in many different segmentation rules, and all this is becoming eventually unmanageable. So it then makes everyone involved in the process sad. All the engineers kind of hate to operate this, and data scientists spends time doing the engineering work that they don't like, and business is blocked and so on. But it's really about streamlining this process, getting the new data, process them, and plug them into some existing marketing process. And we have solved this by our solution or our product, and we have all the technical things you need in place. You can give it to the customer for a free trial. We can show it to their people, and we can deploy it to their environment. And the use case is then, once you have new data in your, for example, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, then it can improve your retention campaigns. You can create new campaigns to sell more. You can adjust the current campaigns to be more personalized. You can automatically retain the customers once their probability to churn is rising, and so on. So I would say this is the most typical use case we start, because the marketing, they are much more open to try new things and fail fast. So the ability to do some POCs is much higher here than, for example, if you talk with the fraud guys or pricing or credit risk. Yeah, they require big things from the start, and it's not that easy. But once we start with marketing, then we can cross-sell the customer, and it's the best way because they reuse the same data for multiple processes, as I've been showing at the beginning, and this is where it is very easy for us then to upsell the customer. So it's harder to get in, but once we are in, it's much easier to upsell. Yeah, can you share some ROI KPIs on some P360 implementation? So yes, it's here on the case study. So as you can see, this is let's say the business results. It is not like, it's not 100% answer to a question. It's not ROI. It's the change of the performance. So yeah, we cannot disclose the actual amount of money we have made because it's a little bit tricky in financial sector. But I hope this is something we can provide. Okay. So any other questions from anyone? Perfect. So if there are no more questions, so thanks a lot for taking your time and spending it with us today. We will share the recording, we will share the links, and we will update the partner website. So you will always find the content there. And in case you would like to understand it in more detail, or you would like to be, let's say, become more aware of what we are doing, feel free to reach out to us. We are happy to help you become confident that you understand the topic and you are confident to open up it with your potential customers. Also stay tuned for another iterations. So today we have talked about Persona 360. Next time it's gonna be another product, or it's going to be a deeper session into Persona 360. We are really doing it in very agile mode, but stay tuned. And once again, thanks a lot, and have a great rest of the day.